Beautiful. It looks like we are live.
We are live. Well, hello everybody. This is Joan Graham. I'm coming to you today to talk about a subject that actually has had a lot of airtime of late. I've noticed it everywhere, whether because I was doing some research on it or whatever, but anyway, that always happens when you focus on something. So today I have an amazing lady who's been a nurse for almost 30 years and has many different modalities in her little quiver of treatments and items that she uses to help everybody. So, Yvonne, I would like to introduce you now. Would you like to tell us a few things about you and what you use to help people? And thank you, everybody, for joining us today.
Yeah, great. Oh, thank you so much for having me, Joan. This is beautiful when I hear people saying, oh, yeah, a topic that has been on air quite a few times. So, yes, certainly it is. So, just briefly about me. So, yes,
Yes.
I've been a nurse for quite some time, only a few decades. I do not currently practice my profession. I've been trained many, many decades ago. So I moved. I was born in East Germany many moons ago, and became a nurse in my early 20s. And in 2000 and let me think, 2002, 2003, I moved to England, and the story is, I keep it very brief. In a nutshell, I jumped into the deep end. So, being born in East Germany, I did not learn English. So, in 2003, I bought a one-way ticket to London, two suitcases, €100 in my pocket, no job, no accommodation. Off I went. So, um, long story short, within one day I had a accommodation sorted. Within 2 days I had a job sorted, and I started my life there in London for I stayed in England for about 6 years. So exciting times, learning everything completely in a very exciting way, but also scary way.
Okay.
So moving forward in 2009, I moved to Brisbane. Again, one-way ticket, but way better equipped language-wise. And I had a job sorted, I had accommodation sorted, so that was all good. And I've never been to Australia before.
So, did you bring more than two suitcases?
No, it was still
Oh,
two suitcases. I have been a bit of a gypsy for a couple of decades, and I moved around. But even when I was in England, I lived a few months in America. So yeah, I tested the water quite a bit. So traveled around a bit, and that was the beauty of being a nurse. That I was able to travel around and still do casual jobs, agency work or whatever, to finance my gypsy life. So yeah, the interesting thing was when I touched down in 2009 in Brisbane and came off the plane, I felt coming home very intuitively, which was very interesting. I
very
never had that feeling before.
okay.
So at that point I knew I'm here for good.
Okay, cool,
So
good.
that was a very interesting experience. So living here now and being happily married as well to a Brisbane boy, man. And we've got a cute little kitten. In 2016, I made a decision that I want to change something in my life. Yes, nursing has opened a lot of doors for me, but I felt this is not where I want to be the rest of my my current life. And so I signed up with a university and did my honors degree in psychology. I knew working with people was always my passion.
Yep.
But there was something missing. So found my way into mental health. So the hospital I worked at that time for had a drug and alcohol addiction recovery unit.
Okay.
That was about 3-4 years ago, where I had the opportunity to do a part-time allied health professional position and a few nursing hours still to keep my registration. But I fell absolutely in love with the mental health side of it.
Okay.
And
yeah.
I started facilitating groups there. I'm a yoga teacher. I'm a certified breath coach. So I brought that whole nervous system regulation, the bottom up approach to mental health into it, not the talking about it, but actually the feeling part of it. And that was a big shift for me to pursue what I'm doing now, to see, especially working in the field of addiction, that we cannot apply the traditional form of talk therapy to it. It has its place, certainly, and I've been trained in it. But when we talk about addiction, there is the trauma-aware approach that needs to be followed, because we don't talk ourselves in and out of addictive behaviors or substance use. This is coming from a feeling part. This is coming from a body part. So from our nervous system. And talk therapy didn't get me very far with that. So I studied a few other modalities. One is root cause therapy and embodied processing, which are two modalities that come from a very trauma-informed healing approach.
So can I just ask a question here? When you say that you've moved away from the talk side of it, so when people are reliving that trauma, does that embed it more into their subconscious?
No. So it is not reliving the trauma, what we do. It actually comes from an emotional point of view. So what you feel and what you perceive as reliving is a nervous system response. So an emotion that has been triggered.
Yeah.
That emotion through whatever the experience was. And that could be, when we talk about trauma, it could be any life experience, really. And a lot of people don't really realize that. Yes, we have the traditional side of the trauma, the major ones. We know about veterans coming home from war, abuse, neglect, that kind of bigger, complex issue to it. But it could be even little things. It's not little in the actual sense, but being whatever, teased at school, when we were little.
Yeah.
So any life experience can eventually or could have a traumatic imprint on you that you carry with you for the rest of your life through your adulthood. So so the reliving, what we perceive as reliving, is the emotional response we had to a certain events.
Okay.
So that could be, it could be shame, guilt, anger, anything really. That unsafe feeling and that insecurity that can come out of it. We are not safe to express our emotions. We are not safe to feel it.
Do you know, as I said, I've been reading this and looking, and that is one of the things that I've really come up with is the safety factor.
Yeah.
Where people do not feel safe and they go into the addiction because it gives them comfort.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It is really, we really try, well, of course, who wants to feel pain? Who wants to be uncomfortable? So we are trying to bottle it up, to cover it up, to run away from it, to some sort of escape from it, not to feel it. Because it's uncomfortable. And that's understandable. But And it may, that bottling up and that not sort of running away from it and numbing it has served a purpose when we were in the event. But it doesn't serve a purpose anymore. It doesn't serve us anymore because the event is over. So, but we carry that same nervous system response with us. Something bottles up, we come up, that could be a trigger, that could, in addiction, I see it quite often with cravings and urges. But the actual event is already gone. That's in the past. So with the approach I'm taking now is through the bottom-up approach to feeling, to allow, we give permission to feel the feeling so we can release it and be able to move forward, which basically is a relearning and retraining for our nervous system to say, hey, the event is over. This is in the past. I'm safe now. I'm secure now. So, and through these constant loops, we call them trauma loops, that we don't close these loops. And we will have that perception of reliving it, going over and over again. Is if we don't allow ourselves to close those loops, we are not moving forward. It stops us. It creates, and that's the other thing when we talk about self-sabotaging habits and limiting beliefs. This is the creation, that picture, that identity we create about ourselves, that we are not safe, or we are not loved, or we are not supported. And really, this is where I felt the talk therapy approach, like the logical approach, is not really healing the root cause of it. These first events or situations.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost a lot of people know about that analogy, the levels of our mind. We've got the conscious on the top, so that iceberg analogy. So you've got the peak of the iceberg above the surface.
Yeah.
And this is where, you know, this is the driver's seat we are in. Our conscious, we making decisions, we analyze. So this is all the conscious part. But the major part is underneath the surface.
Yes.
Conscious and unconscious. So this is where our beliefs are coming in, where our emotions are sitting. So this is really, that's why I'm saying it's the feeling part, you know, allowing yourself to actually resolve those undigested emotions you have experienced, that at one point, yes, it kept you safe, but moving on in your life, it's actually stopping you.
Yes, it deters you, doesn't it? And it just does stop you in your tracks.
Yes.
So if somebody feels that they are self-sabotaging all the time, what are your recommendations for them to get help to help resolve these issues?
Yeah. So there are a couple of things. Yes, you can certainly, well, the first thing is, well, great that you are aware of. This is what a lot of people lacking, the awareness that this is actually happening. So the first step is definitely creating that awareness.
Yeah.
So if you are aware of, or even that awareness, I'm feeling like I'm stuck here. I'm anxious to do certain things. I have ideas I want to do, things I love doing, but I'm not doing it because I'm afraid of something, or I have a story, you know, in my conscious. So, and those are the things.
Oh, yes.
You know, we have this little mind that tells us stories.
Yes.
So, and you can't always believe what your monkey is telling you. So that's another big
True.
Big thing, because as I said, with that iceberg, that subconscious mind, this is where our habits are, our automation, and these are the little programs. Sometimes I don't like the word program so much because they are like a computer or a machine. Of course, we are not. There's way more to being human. So, but it is a bit like a reprogram, like a pre-programming. What we have learned through society, through through
Yes.
rules and regulations, through culture, peers, parents, everything around us. So, and we learn certain ways to think in a certain way, but we also create certain habits out of
Yeah.
it. Because our subconscious mind just wants to, our mind in general, wants to just quickly go to a solution, how we move
Yep.
forward in life. So, and that's where we create our habits. Oh, this is a quick way, but our mind cannot distinguish if there's something real or imagined. So that's where the monkey comes in, and said, well, any
Yes.
story you tell yourself, your mind is not distinguishing is that a real thing or not. It just is.
I know. And it's even like when somebody tells you or relates something back to you, it really is just their story
Yeah.
and how they perceive it. And in so many instances in life, even news is someone's opinion.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And having that awareness is a very important step. Question,
Yes.
I always love it when, and I say it with my clients as well, always question.
Yes.
So question
Yes.
is, for example, something or that someone could do to identify if they are, what are the core beliefs behind I'm stuck or I'm anxious, I'm feeling anxious or I'm feeling depressed. So questioning, for example, identify the emotion might be one question you can do yourself.
Yep.
Just see what comes up. If you, for example, you're watching a movie and you feel sad, and you're just saying, okay, so what is the emotion that is coming up? Oh, I'm feeling sad. And then you can go into, well, what is happening? I'm watching a movie. So whatever the label is, it could be a sad movie, it could be a funny movie, but obviously something is triggering that you are feeling sad. So by just what is happening, you stay very neutral. It's just look for the facts. So what am I doing right now? So this is hypothetically just an example.
Yeah.
The next question might be, so why is that bad? Well, that movie is about whatever the movie is,
Yeah.
Someone loses someone or someone dies, and so why is that bad? So you go deeper and deeper and ask more and more questions till you basically come to a point, what is that reminding you of? And that's where some people get really really deep in a way. Well, if that person that makes me sad, losing someone, that reminds me of when I lost a friend or a pet, or I moved away. My parents, when I was moved away, I lost some friends. I lost, a good buddy I was close to and was playing all the time and had fun with. All these kind of things. And so these are the little questions you can ask yourself to identify it.
That's good. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yvonne, we're running out of time on the thing here. So I will put your contact information into the chat when this finishes. And thank you so much, because I think it's just such an interesting subject. And, you can talk for hours on it. So I thank you so much. So it's Insightful Out is where you can find Yvonne. And this is Joan Graham. And thank you for your attention and your time today. And have an amazing day. So thank you all
so much, Joan, for having me.
That's okay. That's my pleasure. I got to find the out button now. It's up here somewhere. Okay, I'm just going to touch it. Bye.